Well, good morning and welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. And before anybody needs to say it, yes, we do have a little bit of a Mr. Rogers vibe going on with the sweater this morning. I realized it during show prep, but I appreciate it. Before you said it, I appreciate it. Also, we have two interviews this morning. I'm excited about both of them, but I want to highlight the fact that before you think I have potentially the budget for numerous costume changes during every episode of Frankly Speaking, no, that is not the case. These are pre-recorded interviews. So no, I do not make costume changes throughout the broadcast. But first up in this hour, we're going to be talking with Caitlin Witham. She is a assistant professor at Elmira College. And we have Joanna Knickerbocker. She is a student, a senior as a matter of fact, at Elmira College. And we're going to find out about a speech and hearing clinic that is on the campus of the college that not only helps students get that hands-on experience, but also is open to the community, open to you, the residents of our area. I think you're going to find that really interesting. So if you know someone maybe dealing with some hearing or speech issues, or you say, I've been having vertigo, or I have hearing aids and I want to find out best to clean them, those type of things, make sure you stay tuned for the full hour. Then in the next hour, we're going to be talking with Catherine Price. She is a new executive director of the Gaffer district, because coming up on Friday, it starts, and then Saturday is a full day of activities for Harvest Fest. Harvest Fest, always looking forward to that every year, kind of the end of summer celebration, if you will, or maybe the beginning of fall celebration. And there's a lot going on this year. As you know, please humor me for just a moment. One of those celebrations is the Duane Eddy Historical Marker Dedication Ceremony. There is a lot going on with that. As a matter of fact, as you know, if you watched yesterday, I had mentioned that I will not be on the air tomorrow or Friday. A lot of that is not just a vacation on the beach. Nope. We are preparing for the unveiling ceremony. We still have a lot of work to do. It's not too late. Tomorrow will be too late, but it's not too late if you want to go to Corning Twang and donate. We have Venmo if you want to donate to the project. And what that gets you is your name in the program to thank you. Your name will be along many dignitaries, many quotes from rock stars, praising, brand new quotes just for the event, praising Duane and his legacy, his lasting, really touch on the music industry. So if you want to find out more, go to Corning Twang. If you don't want to donate, that's totally fine. Just please attend the event. It's not to be missed. All right. Oh, also, in the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to hear our Karen's quote of the week. I know I have it already in hand, but as always, I'm saving it for just a little bit so everybody can catch Karen's quote of the week, not just the 6 o'clock hour, but the 7 o'clock hour. So we're going to read it. You know what? Maybe we will read it this hour, and then I'll reread it in the 7 o'clock hour. I think I did that last week, and I kind of like that better. So we'll read it here in just a little bit. But first of all, today is Constitution Day. On this day, 238 years ago, 39 delegates to the Constitutional Convention signed the document at Philadelphia's Independence Hall. Now, this is interesting. If you were to be asked, if they said, name the founding fathers, name some of the founding fathers that signed the Constitution, do you realize that out of 55 total delegates, 9 were named William? Meaning that if someone asked you to name a founding father, all you'd have to say is William, and you're already 16% of the way there. You just have to name the rest. But I thought that was really interesting. But yes, today, Constitution Day, 238 years ago today. What a appropriate day to mark the Constitution, the rights afforded us under the Constitution at a time. Well, rights afforded to us under God, but written in the Constitution. at a time when we see some horrible things in the news, which unfortunately we're going to get to a little bit later on in the program in regards to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. First, let's just start a little bit wild this morning. Maybe I'm in vacation mode, so we have a couple of, maybe that's why I decided to wear this red sweater. But did you hear, the only reason I noticed this, I'm not going to say what outlet it was, but it was a mainstream media news broadcast. And it caught my attention, I will admit. You know how, I had this conversation the other day. After September 11th, everything was breaking news on the bottom of the screen. That stuck. That lasted after September 11th. So a lot of times there's breaking news, and you look at it and you say, well, that doesn't really seem all that breaking or that big of an alert or something that's really affecting my life. This may be one of those examples where, yes, it caught my attention. Yes, I ended up doing more research on it, though I don't think it was scroll on the bottom of the screen necessary. The World Stone Skimming Championship tossed into chaos by cheating scandal. I think it said on the news last night, they didn't say chaos. They said rocks, scandal, rocks the World Stone Skimming Championship. Now, to me, I didn't know there was a World Stone Skimming Championship. I assumed at first that was skipping rocks, right? As you did when you would go out fishing or you were by the lake. But now there is a cheating scandal. At least several competitors were tossed like the stones they threw at the World Stone Skimming Championship, which takes place on the small island of Easdale earlier this month. A handful of the 400 participants were accused of using suspiciously circular-shaped stones that helped them more easily bounce along the water instead of following rules that require them to use natural stones found on the island. There's always going to be a few bad apples. Kyle Matthews, who organized the event, told the BBC that the stone-cold cheaters, of course, the New York Post, held their hands up and issued apologies for doctoring stones when confronted. Matthews, known as the Toss Master, which must be quite an honor, told the BBC judges that he became aware of rumors and murmuring of some nefarious deeds before the little bit of stone doctoring sank the whole integrity of the tournament. The whole integrity. It only shows how keen people are to win this trophy, Matthews said. In many ways, it's flattering. Just rocked, of course, is the corny way of putting, but rocked by this scandal. Each contestant gets 3 skips to see how far it can travel before sinking. The stones are only supposed to be naturally formed on Easdale, according to the paper. An exact number of cheaters has not been revealed. I'm sure there is currently a congressional investigation. John Jennings won the championship, the first American to clinch victory since the competition started in 1983. So here I am mocking the mainstream media for mentioning that, and that's what I begin the program with. Also, on an odd note, before we get into actual breaking news, remember Ed McMahon and the Publishers Clearinghouse and the commercials, and you always hoped that would be you someday? The check would be outside as you open the door. Well, Publishers Clearinghouse has declared bankruptcy. So what that means, according to CNN, is those forever winners, the people that won such some amount for the rest of their lives, will no longer get paid. For nearly 60 years, Publishers Clearinghouse has been known for changing individuals' lives, fulfilling their dreams with prize money it promised would keep coming for as long as they lived. Oh, I didn't know all of them were for as long as they lived. I forgot the rules. But now the company is in bankruptcy and winners' dreams have turned into nightmares. ARB Interactive, which is a mobile gaming company, bought Publisher Clearinghouse's remaining assets. They said that under the terms of the sale agreement, it would not honor payouts for those who won their life-changing prizes before July 15th of this year. Some winners who thought they'd never have to work again are now finding themselves uncertain of how they'll pay their bills. John Wiley said, "This feels like a nightmare. I thought this was going to go on for the rest of my life, so I didn't really have to worry about money. Wiley from Washington has been promised $5,000 a week for life. Now he's looking for a new job. He's 61 years old, but he's not hopeful since he hasn't worked for more than 10 years. He is currently living on the proceeds of sales of some of his prized possessions like a jet ski and a trailer. But Wiley said he had no idea the company was even in trouble until his annual check for $260,000 didn't show up as expected. So no one gave him a heads up. The bankruptcy is not just upending the finances of people who had been promised continued riches, it's eroding a part of America's popular culture. Today, Publisher Clearinghouse and its prize money seems quaint in comparison to, the billions of dollars, or $1.5 billion. Wasn't that what Mega Millions was up to recently? But you look at the history of this. I don't want to go through this. The Prize Patrol in '89, of course, Ed McMahon getting involved. So many references throughout pop culture to this. I just found this really interesting. I don't know why. I hope you did too. Publisher Clearinghouse's annual revenue has dropped dramatically in recent decades, falling from $854 million back in 2017 to $182 million in 2023. At the time of its bankruptcy filing in April, the company reported liabilities of between $50 million and $100 million, including the promised prizes, assets totaling only between $1 million and $10 million, leaving it with little chance of paying its past winners. In fact, its filing lists 10 prize winners among the 20 largest unsecured creditors, although the names and addresses of those winners are redacted. Anyway, for whatever that was worth, those are the two stories I decided to start with. So I guess keep that in mind where we're headed. Yesterday, the House of Representatives passed two bills aimed at overhauling Washington, D.C.'s age of criminal responsibility and lenient sentencing guidelines with bipartisan support. This is a great move. This is kind of in reference to what we talk about here on the program, the bail reform that we have in New York State, or the raise the age, raise the age meaning that younger people cannot be charged very often. I think in most cases sent to family court. I think it was Judge Janine who said basically they're sent to art class, and there's some heinous crimes being committed by young people. They're joining gangs, starting their own, almost like Charles Dickens type gangs. The D.C. Crimes Act cleared the lower chamber in a 240 to 179 vote, with 31 Democrats joining all Republicans except for Representative Thomas Massie. Someone explain Thomas Massie for me for a moment, Republican from Kentucky. Anyway, the second bill passed in a 225 to 203 vote with 8 Democrats backing it and just one Republican, Thomas Massie, voting against it. I'm not being sarcastic, I'm not being critical, but why Massie really likes being the no. He really likes not accomplishing anything, I suppose, and getting that attention. Is that what we're at now? U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Janine Pirro, Elmira native, hailed the votes as a critical first step following Trump's highly successful surge to address violent crime in D.C. He is the first president to recognize the out-of-control crime and the fact that it can be stopped. The D.C. Crimes Act, which was sponsored by Representative Byron Donald, seeks to lower the maximum age a criminal defendant is considered a youth offender from 24 to 18. So you were considered a youth offender up to the age of 24 years old. Wow. Simply put, if you're 18 to 24 years old and you commit a crime in your nation's capital, you should be sentenced as adult. This is common sense. We are making D.C. safe again, said Donalds. I mean, we should be looking at this in New York as well. Trying to see if they have any quote here from Massie. I'm sure there's some reason why he is taking this stance. I don't see it myself. It seems to be a common trend. When we come back, a couple other things. We are going to get to Charlie Kirk, some things being done to honor and remember him, and also, of course, the vitriol and the hate that has cost so many people their jobs. We're going to give you some examples of that. Then we've got a lot of New York State issues. And as I said, we have two guests. We've got a lot going on this morning. We're just getting warmed up, and I'm already running late. We'll read Karen's quote when we come back, and then we'll do another quick segment. Then we'll have our guest. Then we'll come back with more. So please keep your comments, keep your waves coming in. We're going to have a fun time this morning because Got to get your comments in now because we got 2 days without a brand new Frankly Speaking. So if you want your comments heard, well then, send them in to that number on the bottom of the screen. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. All right, let's go to Karen's quote of the week, and I'll rebroadcast it at 7 as well. But good morning, Frank. Well, good morning, Karen. As always, we appreciate the quote of the week. It's a short one this week. This quote can be applied to a serious issue of loss, like the many sad stories in the news as of late, or just to the end of summer, which so many people are unhappy about. From the wonderful author Theodore Geisel, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but we all know him as Dr. Seuss, so my apologies. I just know him as Dr. Seuss. But here's the quote. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. That's very nice. Enjoy your long weekend. Your viewers will muddle through with no Frankly Speaking. Thank you very much. Yes, a little bit of a long weekend as we prepare for the Dwayne Eddy celebration on Saturday. So I thought I'll be much more productive if I'm not getting up at 3:30 in the morning these last 2 days before the event. All right, Mark writes in this morning. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning, Mark. Robert Redford dies at 98. Yes, thank you for that. I meant to mention that this morning, and the news cycle's strange. Sometimes things like that, major stories all over everywhere yesterday, sometimes gets lost later in the pages that I didn't get a chance to get to. So I do appreciate that. Robert Redford passing away at the age of 98. So the House plans Thursday to vote on the clean government funding bill to extend spending through November. Now, not to be critical, but through November, meaning kicking the can down the road just a little bit. Now, what happens in November, elections, things like that, not the midterms, but this is cobbled together from speaking to multiple sources on both sides of the Capitol, according to Fox News. The House is now aiming to vote Thursday on the clean interim spending bill, which would fund the government through November 27th, But Republicans must first get the bill through the House. Several senior House Republican sources said they were still talking to the usual suspects. So I'm guessing Thomas Massie probably won't be there. Republicans can only lose 2 votes to pass a bill on their own. Hakeem Jeffries expressed confidence he could hold all his Democrats together and oppose a bill. Isn't that great? Hold all his Democrats together. Of course he will. That's what the Democrats do, no matter what. Look at Representative Swazi, who said, I like the big, beautiful bill, about 75% of it, but I voted against it. Well, it doesn't matter if you liked 100% of it. You were going to have to vote against it because you have a D next to your name, and that's just how it operates. Jeffrey said that that will be the focus of a Democrat caucus on Thursday. It is also not a done deal that the House would move on Thursday. It could move till Friday. There's now the distinct possibility of a weekend session in the Senate, potentially Saturday. If the House approves the government funding package, this must go through 2 rounds of cloture to break a filibuster. That needs 60 yeas. It is advantageous to Senate Republicans to have the House approve the bill Thursday. If so, John Thune can file cloture to set up a test vote on Saturday. By rule, the Senate cannot take the test vote without an intervening day. This all gets a little bit too much. But Democrats are opposing the stopgap spending bill. That should be the least surprising headline you've ever heard. We'll be keeping a close eye on it. Unfortunately, we will not be able to cover it here on the program, but we will be talking about it on Monday. It seems like it could be a tough sell. Yesterday, what did you think of Kash Patel's Senate hearing? I don't have a lot on it. I thought he did a good job. It was great to see him up there not taking grief. I think a lot of people were wondering how it would turn out. I had one viewer say something to the extent, I like his attitude, I like his aggressiveness. The media is playing it almost as unhinged. The takeaways at CNN were the controversial handling of the Kirk shooting. I thought he handled that well. When he said he didn't see it as a mistake posting. I've been slightly critical of that too. The early posting about having a suspect in custody and then you wake up the next morning and there wasn't. But I thought he handled that well. But of course, CNN's just providing you with what the Democrat questioning was and not what Kash Patel had to say. There's a lot of blame game on Epstein. Patel's handling of the firings at the FBI, these are the big takeaways. And Cory Booker. Cory Booker trying to be Spartacus, trying to make a name for himself as a leader of the resistance, saying that he thinks that Trump's going to fire him, as if Cory Booker has any inside knowledge to this, but he's going to fire him, and this will be the last hearing he's ever at, these type of things. Again, all the quotes are from Booker from CNN. Thank you. Thank you for not giving us any of what Kash Patel had to say. But he did say this: I'm not going anywhere. Following the exchange, Ted Cruz commented that it used to be that to see theater, you had to go to the Kennedy Center. Now, apparently, you need to only go to the Senate Judiciary Committee and see our Senate Democrats berating the director of the FBI. What is remarkable is what Senator Booker was berating Director Patel about. He wasn't berating him for failing to do his job, but rather he was furious for Director Patel for successfully doing his job. I don't know if you saw the exchange with Adam Schiff. Patel just embarrassed him, calling him a buffoon, these type of things. So what does Schiff do? He goes to his safe haven. He goes to MSNBC after the fact and says Kash Patel is an incompetent internet troll. Schiff does not like it when people expose his lies about Russiagate. I can't remember some of the other things he said, meaning Patel. He said he was a political buffoon. He said that he lied about Russiagate, that he was just looking to make money, raise money off of his questioning. I thought it was great the way he berated Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff tried to yell over him the whole time, is typical of the case. So yes, the hearing is frustrating in that pure sense of just the talking over each other. But Adam Schiff has to go to MSNBC to then try to make his point, then try to do the name calling. But one question before we talk about what broke yesterday with the Charlie Kirk assassination, and I'm gonna say this, ask you this question, then we're gonna go to our guests. Then when we come back, I'll read your responses to it, and then we'll get into the assassination of Charlie Kirk. But David Axelrod, the former Obama advisor, he says that he believes conservatives or members of MAGA or Trump supporters are becoming disillusioned with Trump. Now, you and I may say, well, the polls don't show that. Anecdotally, the people we know, that doesn't show it. But Axelrod says, well, he doesn't seem to care that much about it. He seems to feel like his base will rally around him. So we shall see. I think conservatives may be disillusioned. Will they walk away from him? We haven't seen any evidence of that in other instances in the last 7 or 8 months. So didn't you just prove the opposite of your point? But he thinks conservatives are disillusioned with Trump. Your thoughts on that? But when we come back, we're going to be learning a little bit more about Elmira College. Yesterday we learned some about Elmira College, but this is specifically about the speech and hearing clinic. I think this is a very good service for our community, so please stay tuned. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox. The Frankly Speaking Move Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom, and we are broadcasting from the Hesselson studio. And in that studio, we're going to talk about Elmira College Speech and Hearing Clinic. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, well, thanks for being on the program. I thought we could start with kind of the easy question. Tell us about yourselves, if you want to go first.
All right, well, my name is Dr. Caitlin Witham. I'm an audiologist and new assistant professor of practice at Elmira College. I brought here with me Joe.
I'm a senior at Elmira College. I'm one of her students in the department.
Okay. And so tell us about the clinic itself, because I think this is really kind of unique. I've never heard of anybody doing something quite like this.
So the clinic it's been around for quite a while, providing speech therapy services and audiologic diagnostic services.
Sure.
But now we're expanding services. So in addition to hearing tests, now we're also doing hearing tests for down to 7 months of age on up through adulthood. And we're also doing treatment as well. So hearing aids fitting, adjustments. If you already have hearing aids, we're able to fix those. We have a full lab that we let the students come in and learn how to fix and clean. So the students get a lot of clinical practicum experience. That's our focus. And then also working with the community and making sure that they're hearing the best they can with whatever devices they already have and getting them into new ones to try for free if they haven't tried hearing aids before.
I want to note that the clinic is not for profit, but I think that's such a benefit to the community overall, but also to the students, right? I mean, imagine the hands-on experience. Well, you don't have to imagine, you know, but what's it like to have that hands-on experience?
I like having that hands-on experience, especially because it's right on campus. So if one of my other students that go there, if they don't have a car, they can just go there and they don't have to worry about transportation.
Sure.
But having the hands-on experience really gives you a leg up going into the work world or grad school, and you kind of know before you graduate if this is what you want to do or not.
Well, have you made up your mind?
Yes.
Is that what you want to do? Okay, good.
I definitely want to do this.
Okay, good. What I think is really neat, and about talking about helping the community, what are some of the services that you find are asked about the most when it comes to the community?
I think over-the-counter devices have been a pretty big conversation recently.
Yeah.
And I like to say that on average, people take about 7 years from figuring out they have a hearing difficulty to actually doing something about it. So these over-the-counter devices that have started coming into play have just been getting into people's hands quicker, and then they come to me saying they want their first real set. So I am pretty ecstatic about the new over-the-counter devices that are out right now because people are getting their hands on hearing healthcare faster. But it is an over-the-counter device, so eventually you want to upgrade.
You want a professional,
Yes.
upgrade. No, that makes sense. But at least it means that they're getting some type of help. Is it
Yes.
something that you want to catch early, or does it?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is a ton of research that shows untreated hearing loss is heavily correlated with dementia and Alzheimer's.
Oh my goodness.
We're also seeing a lot of evidence showing that treated hearing loss with hearing aids is slowing the rate of progression of these disorders. And just, having hearing loss can be really isolating and kind of messes with communication with family and friends.
Right.
And getting help sooner rather than later is just all around much better for your brain health and your mental health.
And let me ask this then, because I think a lot of people have questions, because this is such an amazing program. Your background, how does that suit this kind of new opportunity for you?
So I got my doctorate at Gallaudet University, so it's the deaf school in DC.
Oh, okay.
So I am proficient with American Sign Language. I've also seen a lot of disorders and conditions that many people haven't seen. And I feel like I am a little bit quicker with diagnostics and being able to, if somebody has a hearing difficulty, come to me and I can do a full comprehensive audiologic evaluation, looking in the ears, checking out the middle ear status, doing hearing tests, and just looking at the entire auditory system. I also work with auditory processing disorders, so also what goes on in the brain after your ear hears.
Oh, interesting.
We do a lot of that as well at the clinic.
What has the community reaction been? Because this, you told me, just opened, essentially, when school began.
Yes, so we've had a few people come in and get help with the hearing aids that they've already had and mention, wow, I can hear so much better. If you can get a hearing aid that fits properly. The biggest thing about hearing aids is the maintenance. So the device is only as great as the person programming and keeping that device working for as long as possible, as well as it can.
So are you kind of teaching people to maybe better use their hearing device?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So anybody who comes in, we're teaching them how to clean them, how to change wax traps. There's a ton that goes into these little bitty devices that you don't know about. So we do a lot of teaching and a lot of training and hands-on with the patient.
How small do they make them now? Because I remember, like, my grandparents, right? They were pretty
Yes.
big. Yeah.
They're very small. They are very hard to see now.
No kidding.
Very inconspicuous.
Because I can't think of the last time I actually saw someone wearing hearing aids, and that's could pretty much back.
Yeah,
in
and
the
I like
day,
to say everybody has something in their ears now, so
Yeah.
it's not even that big of a
There's
deal.
no stigma to it.
But hearing aids now, I like to recommend the over-the-ear kind. There's just like a thin, invisible wire that just goes in, and nobody can barely see anything.
Wow, that's amazing. So what has the students' reaction been?
The students are really excited to
Yeah.
have this back on campus because it gives us a chance to do more while we're in clinic, because a lot of places, if you go do an internship there, you don't have clearance level to do a lot of things on patients, where at the clinic we can do all the testing, we can look in ears as well, with Dr. Withup looking right over our shoulder and ensuring that we're not harming the patient or messing up the test results at all.
So what does your day look like, not outside of the other classes, but when you're a part of the clinic?
At the clinic, it really depends what kind of patient we have coming in. So normally we'll just set up and get ready for them, and then they'll come in. Let's just say it's a normal hearing evaluation. We will do just a normal hearing test, look in the ears, test out that middle ear, see if there's anything going on other than just normal hearing loss.
Okay. And I also think it's nice because we keep talking, like community kind of becomes a trend in this conversation. But I think it's great that you're also going to be traveling, for example, and going and taking the show on the road, so to
Yes.
speak, right? Tell us a little bit about that, because I think it adds such a neat community perspective to it.
Yeah, so that's another thing I'm really excited about. The students need clinical hours, so I have to make sure that they're doing screenings, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're doing some free hearing screenings at least once a semester. This most recent one we're doing on the 26th at Appleridge. They're having their community health fair.
Oh, yeah. That's a big
and-
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are super excited to be a part of it. So Joe is coming with me as
That's
well.
nice.
She's one of the seniors that are going to be doing the free hearing screenings. So we'll get to interact with the community members and just, hey, we're here. You
Kind
may
of
or
get
may
them to
not-
know you, that you have
Yes.
that. What got you into this field?
So I originally went to Elmira College for nursing, and everyone said to start with that because it's more structured, and then switch later. And it was like the first week of my freshman year, and I'm like, no, I think I really want to do this, because
Yeah.
I'd gone there and I'd toured and I'd seen the speech and hearing clinic. I'm like, I want to go in there. I want to go in there. And it just so happened my RA at the time, who became my best friend, that was her major.
Oh, perfect.
So she took me in, and I got to meet our old professor who worked there. I loved him. And I was like, I'm switching all my classes today, and I did. So
Did
I
you?
ended up being able to take all the classes I needed to on time.
Oh, that's wonderful. So how can people book an appointment? Because I'm sure for many viewers, this is the first that they've heard about it.
Yes.
And I'm sure there's many of my viewers that are very excited about it and wanting to know what other kind of services you offer and how they can book an appointment, because I know there's hours that are different. Can you tell us a little bit about the kind of who, what, when, where, and why?
Yes, so we are online on Google and Facebook. You can, if you are a brand new patient who needs a brand new hearing eval, you can book online without having to call if that is a little bit intimidating. Otherwise, you can call 9 to 5 Monday through Friday and book an appointment with us. The evaluation is we're going to sit you down, do the test, explain everything to you, let you and ask any questions that you need. We'll answer those. And then if you need a hearing aid eval, meaning you are a candidate for trialing hearing aids, we do that part for free. So we want you to listen to devices, find out how much benefit they bring you,
Sure.
and such. But so you can find that link to organize, or
What would it be? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the word either.
you can find that link to schedule yourself on Facebook or on Google.
Gotcha. And how large is the program?
It is growing. So right now it is 2 professors, me and Professor Aaron Stam, who's the speech language pathologist. And then we've got about 15 students. So we're working on, it's pretty good because every student gets like their own time in clinic, and in classes they get more one-on-one time.
Sure. Well, before we go, how's the new school year going?
It's good.
Good, yeah.
We're doing good so far.
So far, well, it's September 15th. When did you guys start?
September 1st was our first day of classes.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's all going smooth, and this is your senior year?
Yep.
Oh, congratulations. Well, thanks so much for giving us so much time this morning, and best of luck. If there's anything we can do on the program, let me know, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this. Stay with us. The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. A couple of comments from viewers. Good morning. Well, good morning. Even though it's the Democrats who are voting against the budget bill just because they want to, they are pushing the idea that if the bill does not get passed, it will be the Republicans' fault. You're 100% right. It's a story as old as time. It is completely their fault, and they know that is not going to reflect kindly on them, especially as next year will be the midterm. Chuck Schumer recognized that not that long ago, but look what it got him. A lot of infighting. A lot of the Democrats are not happy with him because of it. So they're hoping, and they know that this will happen, that the media will keep pushing the idea that it's the Republicans' fault because the Republicans are not compromising. Now we know what compromising means. Compromising means giving into everything the Democrats demand, at least in the media's mindset and the Democrats' mindset. So that will be the narrative. You're right. I don't think it carries the weight that it used to. Call me naive or call me kind of Pollyanna. I don't think that idea that it's Republicans' fault, because people are obviously paying attention and know more than the media thinks they do. The mainstream media doesn't think you're that smart. So they're going to try to push this narrative, and people are going to say, wait a minute. Republicans have the majority. Why would they need to negotiate and give in the Democrats completely? But with the Democrats' rhetoric, we see that it's them who are not willing. Every single Democrat will vote against this. So I hope I'm not being naive, but I would like to think that old talking point from the media doesn't stick like it used to. Comment from a different viewer. Not disillusioned or disappointed in the best president I've had in my lifetime. More MAGA. Thank you very much. That's in reference to David Axelrod saying that Republicans are disillusioned. Republicans are disillusioned with the president. Okay. Sorry, again, a little distracted out there. So yesterday, we learned that the prosecutors are seeking the death penalty for Charlie Kirk murder suspect. There's a hint at a possible motive that he intentionally targeted Kirk because of Robertson's, quote, belief or perception regarding Charlie Kirk's political expression, saying he spreads too much hate and he had enough of his hatred, those type of things. He's being charged with aggravated murder, witness tampering, and other charges. What else do we have? Anyway, I don't want to go through everything that CNN is saying. You saw this. Oh, George Zinn, before we go to break, he is the elderly rabble-rouser, if you will, who claimed he shot Charlie Kirk and said he did that because, remember, there was the older guy that was being kind of dragged out of the event. Many people thought that he was a shooter at first. He was saying he was a shooter. The reason he did that is because, and he admitted this later, is he wanted the law enforcement to be distracted from the actual shooter so the actual shooter could get away. This guy is clearly unhinged, and now he has been hit with child pornography charges, not just on other charges related to that day's events. The reason being is because when he was being questioned, they asked if they could see his phone, and that is when they found the disgusting photos. So that's an update on a man that we brought to you yesterday, a little bit of story about him. Also, we learned that a Florida woman is being charged with a felony after she allegedly assaulted a 73-year-old man during a Charlie Kirk vigil. This was in Florida. The incident happened at the Villages MAGA Club, an organization in Central Florida retirement community known as America's Friendliest Hometown. It held a vigil Sunday in honor of Kirk at a local medical center. Arrest records show that Courtney Beth Anderson, 56 years old, showed up to the solemn gathering, again, a vigil, yelling and holding up, well, we'll just say a certain digit on her hand to everyone at the event. Valerie Jamison, the co-founder of the Villages MAGA Club, asked Anderson to leave due to her aggressive and rude behavior, at which point Anderson allegedly pushed her to the ground, causing her to hit her head. So then she is being charged with a felony. All right, we're going to, that was just a couple updates from stories we had from you in the past. I'm sure you've undoubtedly seen by now the ABC reporter who called the text messages from the alleged assassin to his transgender partner very touching. It was Matt Gutman trying to almost humanize or trying to speak in this kind of, I don't know what you would call it. We've got a lot of media coverage on this, and we're going to go through quickly with some of the people that have said horrific things and have lost their jobs because of it. And it also ties in with Luigi Mangione having that the most highest ranking, I guess, charge against him dropped by that judge. There's a piece at the New York Post that is suggesting that is just encouraging this kind of violence. So we'll tie those in together. But we have a lot of New York State issues to get to. We still have another interview, which I'm looking forward to, from the new executive director of the Gaffer District. That's coming up a little bit later on. So stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox, we will be. Where is it? Right back. The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson's studio here on Market Street recording. Some viewer comments. Good morning, Frank. Well, hey, good morning. What has happened to the Naples teacher that celebrated Charlie Kirk's death? Last I had heard, I don't believe there is an update on this. They were suspended. That teacher was suspended as they investigate. Now, if you recall, when he had his follow-up, so he said the disgusting things about Charlie Kirk, then people started to say, well, you should be fired, these type of things. He ends up responding to those posts by saying, hey, there's nothing you can do. I've been like this forever. They hate it, but I'm tenured. He started bragging about his tenure, which, of course, there's a lot of criticism to be had on that. Now, when I say suspended, placed on leave, that was from 5 days ago, so I want to make sure I've got the right language. Placed on leave. That does not mean he was fired. He was placed on leave during that investigation. So not the news I'm sure you wanted to hear, but that's where we're at. Comment from a different viewer. How about those weirdos in New York City who are saying Luigi is a hero? Oh my gosh. It's despicable, isn't it? Well, I mean, it's really no different than what we're seeing with the disgusting rhetoric against Charlie Kirk. But this is taking it in a to your point, a weirder way, just because what I mean by that is there's one person that was interviewed that created an AI, an artificial intelligence of Luigi, and said that she married it. I'm not making that up. I don't know if I can find that. Probably not. I saw it in show prep this morning, and there is a lot of show prep that I do. But the idea was that she married an AI version of Luigi because, and I'm paraphrasing here, but seemed, what was the term that she used? Seemed normal, or seemed like the normal thing to do, I think was the exact term she used. So yes, weird is definitely a right word to use. It is. Some almost worship him. Some of the younger girls are in love with him. It is, we could spend a whole show on that. Comment from Jack. He says, oh my, 4 days worth of news for Monday when you get back. You better get an early start Monday. No kidding. I'll be definitely in early, and I'll be making notes throughout the next few days. So we may cover some things that are already out of the Trump news cycle, but that we have to talk about. Yeah, it's going to be, I have to take the 2 days off. I don't have to. I'm excited to. I want to get ready for this amazing event with Dwayne Eddy. Why not? I'll take this shameless plug. So we got to get ready for it. It's been too long in the making, and I want everything to go right. So I'm very excited to do it. But yes, of course, I'm going to miss being on Frankly Speaking, because I know there's going to be a lot to talk about. And as I check my different websites, as I have a moment of free time, I'm going to be upset that I'm not going to get to talk with you about it. But that is where we are at. The U.S. Senate unanimously passed a resolution condemning the assassination of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk and praising his legacy. This is surprising that it was unanimously. The United States Senate has unanimously passed a resolution condemning the assassination of Charlie Kirk and praising his outstanding legacy, said Senator Mike Lee. This is just a flag planted on a hill. What matters is where we carry it next. I'm not going to read the whole resolution, but sadly, I wouldn't have known before it passed unanimously if it would pass unanimously. So good news there. Senator Rick Scott announced a resolution making October 14th, 2025 National Day of Remembrance for Charlie Kirk. That would have been October 14th, Charlie Kirk's 32nd birthday. In a statement, Senator Rick Scott said Charlie loved our nation and his founding principles and believed deeply in his faith and his family and in the beauty of ideas and discussion. He lived with purpose and conviction, never shying away from hard truths and hard conversations, and always believing that the strength of our ideas and our faith could bring people together. Stressing that Kirk worked to make our nation a better place in his 31 years before he was lost in an evil act of political violence and will leave a lasting legacy on our nation. I am proud to lead a resolution honoring Charlie's legacy as an American patriot by designating October the 14th, what would have been his 32nd birthday, as a National Day of Remembrance for Charlie Kirk, a day to come together, pray, and celebrate Charlie's impact on the nation. There you are. And we got to take a break. Stay with us. Getting ready to wrap up hour number 1. It's hard to believe. Stay with us. We'll be right back. The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. I don't want you to forget, and again, I don't have a lot of information on this, but I received this from a friend yesterday, and I know I've had so many people reaching out. Where will there be a Charlie Kirk vigil in our area? The only one that I've heard of is one that is being held Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. in Waverly at the East Waverly Park. So if you end up going, please let us know how it goes. If you know of any others, please send it our way. So as I had mentioned, ABC's reporter Matt Gutman, he is under fire for putting a spotlight on what he called the, quote, very touching text messages Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin sent to his transgender partner. We're not going to read those. You've heard them read elsewhere, the text messages. But Gutman said, but also it was very touching in a way that many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself. And him repeatedly calling his roommate, who is transitioning, calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love. So it was this duality of someone who the attorney did not only jeopardize the life of Charlie Kirk and the crowd. Oh, let me try that again. So it was this duality of someone who the attorney said not only jeopardized the life of Charlie Kirk and the crowd, but was doing it in front of children, which is one of the aggravating circumstances of the case. And then on the other hand, he was, speaking so lovingly about his partner. So a very interesting and riveting press conference. He doubled down, calling it heartbreaking on so many levels, linking Kirk's brutal murder to the portrait of a very human person. I don't think I've ever experienced a press conference in which we've read text messages that are so fulsome, so robust, so apparently allegedly self-incriminating, and yet on the other hand, so touching, right? And the terminology he used. He was trying to protect him. He kept calling him my love. My reason for doing this is to protect you, but also asking him to delete the messages and not speak to law enforcement. So there's this heartbreaking duality. Boy, it's like he got a word of the day calendar because he's used duality twice. But so there's this heartbreaking duality that we're seeing very tragically playing out. So many people jumped on this. Jerry Dolevy said, Matt Gutman, the new frontrunner for worst take of the day, and that's an impressive feat today. Red State writer Bonchi said, all it takes is transgenderism being involved, and suddenly the mainstream press thinks the shooter and his boyfriend are a touching love story. Insane. And this is a good point by Stephen L. Miller, saying if they aren't going to change over this, meaning the assassination of Charlie Kirk, they aren't going to change over anything. Yes, but this is why the mainstream media has lost all credibility. To have that take on it is, yes, shocking. Will Kane saying fundamentally, irredeemably broken, meaning the mainstream media, and I couldn't agree more. Ron DeSantis saying legacy media in all its glory. Meghan McCain saying, is everyone at ABC out of their minds? That's what it's. I've got other examples of this, unfortunately, but stay with us. We've got a lot to cover. We're going to reread Karen's quote of the week. When we come back, we've got another guest, the new executive director of the Gaffer District, Catherine Price. She'll be joining us in the next hour. So stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking. It's hard to believe, but it's hour number 2 of Frankly Speaking, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. I'm so glad that you've joined us. We have so much to cover. As I said, we're going to hear from the Gaffer District coming up here in just a little bit. I see one of the new trends as we talk about the coverage of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, as we saw with Gutman from ABC trying to, I guess, humanize him in a way, calling his messages loving to his transgender partner, these type of things. Then you see Jimmy Kimmel trying to claim, and again, he's doing this because he hopes that you're not paying attention, and that the kind of the SEALs that tune into his late night show to clap and agree with everything and laugh at every bad joke about the orange bad man, he's hoping they're not paying attention and that this will stick in their mind. He claims that Charlie Kirk's assassin is affiliated with MAGA. Jimmy Kimmel brought up the matter during his monologue and claimed right-wing critics were hitting new lows trying to frame the suspect, Tyler Robinson, as someone who wasn't MAGA. We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. Excuse me? Wouldn't this be him, Jimmy Kimmel, trying to score political points? But again, he's hoping you're not paying attention. Kimmel said, this is not how an adult grieves the murder of somebody he called a friend. This is in reference to what Trump said. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay? Dan Bongino said it was fairly obvious this was an ideologically motivated attack. There's no doubt. But see, again, there's only one of two things. Jimmy Kimmel is that ignorant, or Jimmy Kimmel is purposefully lying to you in hopes that you're not paying attention to create a false narrative. At NPR, who lost their funding, thank heavens, on All Things Considered, NPR actually has a domestic extremist correspondent. Give you an idea, a little look into NPR. Odette Youssef reacted to the text exchange with Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin and said that, quote, some hate can't be negotiated out. That's what the alleged assassin said, by saying that Kirk, it should be noted, often spoke of his anti-trans views, and that if the charges laid out by prosecutors about Kirk's assassination are true, it would represent a significant escalation in violence from what's perceived as the political left. He said prosecutors shared information about a note that the suspect allegedly left behind for his roommate, saying, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. And when the roommate asked after the killing why the suspect had done it, the suspect texted, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. Kirk, it should be noted, often spoke of his anti-trans views. Later, Youssef added, for many years it's been the consensus of an analyst and the FBI up until this year that the most persistent and lethal threat in the U.S. has come from violent white supremacists. The data support this. Far-right actors have been behind deadly mass shootings at synagogues, black churches, Walmarts, grocery stores, and other places. If indeed the allegations bear out here, this would represent a significant escalation in violence from what's perceived as the political left. Now, a mocking Texas State student who was in front of a crowd reenacting Charlie Kirk's assassination as the crowd stood horrified. That student, a Texas State University student, has now been quickly expelled. The student, who has not been publicly identified, was seen in footage posted to social media, spewing profanity towards members of a local chapter of Turning Point USA. He kept saying language I cannot use. I just saw some comments here. Let me ask some viewers here real quick because I saw a comment. But the signal is freezing on my end. I don't know if it's a problem. It was on and off freezing, but it's good now. A little bit of pixelating going on. Must be traffic on the internet or something. Yeah, is anybody else having problems? But I'll continue. So I can't read what this person was screaming to the members of Turning Point USA, but he kept slapping his neck and imitating the recoil of the bullet's impact. The student then climbed on a statue in front of the crowd, slapped his neck again, shook his body, and dramatically slumped to the ground as if he was shot. Wow, there's some language. Well, Texas Governor Greg Abbott reshared the video of the disturbing confrontation on social media, demanding the school expel the student immediately. Texas State University President Kelly Damphouse announced late Tuesday that the university took swift action to identify and expel the student after the call for consequences. Quote, the university has identified the student in the disturbing video from Monday's event. I will not tolerate behavior that mocks, trivializes, or promotes violence on our campus is antithetical to our values. The individual is no longer a student. Federal law prevents the university from commenting further on individual students' conduct matters. Okay, people saying all good. You're fine on my TV. Thank you very much, everybody. A university, so it's not just the students, folks, as is always the case, just like the anti-Semitism on college campuses. That's why the NPR comment is such a joke. They ignore the anti-Semitism in the Democrat Party. But the University of Tennessee Knoxville professor has been suspended and faces being fired after claiming, let me take a step back. The University of Tennessee Knoxville assistant professor Tamar Sherinan has been suspended and now faces the potential of firing because what she said after Charlie Kirk's assassination was that the world and his kids are better off without him in it. This is one of the grown-ups in the room, folks. This is who is teaching the students. So when we see a student act like that and get expelled and you say, well, it's a young person, they deserve to be expelled, that was wrong, they need to be taught a lesson. But where's it coming from? I know it's not the same university, but what I'm saying is coming from the higher ups, if you will. It's coming from the professors and the grown-ups in the room. In reaction to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, Sheridan wrote, the world is better off without him in it. Even those who are claiming to be sad for his wife and kids, like his kids are better off living in a world without a disgusting sociopath like him. Can you imagine? So she's a professor. This is just a kind of nitpicking or petty here. She's a professor and she wrote this. She didn't say it during an interview. She wrote it and she still felt the need to put the word like in. Now we all have our little, they call it in radio, they used to call them crutches, but words you use over and over, and who knows, I'm sure I say like. But you type it out like, his kids are better off living in the world. I'll continue though. That was just a little bit of a side tangent. And his wife, well, she's a sick blank for marrying him, so I don't care about her feelings. UT Knoxville is actively investigating the matter and will take decisive action to ensure it is addressed with the full weight and attention it deserves. Her actions endorsing violence and murder do not represent the university or our values. The faculty member is out of the classroom, placed on administrative leave, and termination proceedings have begun. Teaching and shaping the lives of young people is core to the mission of the University of Tennessee Knoxville. Let's keep going. Hakeem Jeffries was asked why he skipped the Charlie Kirk vigil. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who may be just so busy contemplating whether or not he should endorse Mahmadani. He is kind of in hot water amongst his own party because he doesn't seem to be the resistance enough. So maybe he's having conversations about that. Why didn't, Hakeem Jeffries, why didn't you go to Charlie Kirk's vigil? Why did you skip it? 4-word answer, I had a meeting. Then he was asked why more Democrats did not attend the vigil. Jeffries said, I don't know. I guess you'd have to talk to the individual Democrats as to what else was going on and why they were present or why they weren't present. There's a really interesting piece by Chadwick Moore at the New York Post. There is call it the Republican effect. I don't know. They're calling it the Charlie Kirk effect on the Republican Party. There's a disgusted ex-Democrats who are now registering Republican after Charlie Kirk's assassination. And so you can find this is a very lengthy piece at the New York Post. Freshly emancipated former Democrats told the New York Post they were horrified by the assassination of the 31-year-old podcaster and further disgusted by the ghoulish celebration of his killing by so many on the left. Schifer Zapita, a 31-year-old avocado farmer and software entrepreneur from California, was among them, saying, I'm switching parties to protest. I understand that the right also has certain character flaws, but it doesn't culminate in sympathy for political violence. Democrats were with their jubilation over the killing. We can't go through all this, but they're calling it the Charlie Kirk effect, where people realized, my goodness, this has gone too far, because it's assassination, but the celebration. And they keep trying. This is another way they try to gaslight you. And I know the term gaslight is way overused, but they try to gaslight you by saying, I don't hear any Democrats saying anything in celebration of Charlie Kirk's assassination. And how many examples do I just have there? How many examples have I had of people, Democrat state senators, leaders? But they try to, just like Jimmy Kimmel was trying to do, to suggest that the alleged assassin was a member of MAGA. They're trying to gaslight you into believing that there's no one celebrating. Never mind what you see with your eyes. No one's celebrating it. But John Fetterman was on Fox News yesterday saying that everyone on the left that's making the Hitler comparisons will incite somebody to say, well, now I feel like I have to stop that and take them out. Do not ever compare anyone to Hitler. If not, go online and you can read up on exactly what he's responsible for. 75 to 80 million lives lost in World War II. And you don't compare him to anyone. And if you do, then you will incite somebody to say, well, now I feel like I have to stop that and take them out. People seem to have forgotten that the president took a shot to the head. And can you imagine if that shot would have gone the way Charlie Kirk's went, and what kind of condition our nation would be in? This is such a dangerous time right now. And now why? You don't need this to be an opportunity to share your opinions on it. Just again, it's appalling and allows folks enough space to grieve. The man hasn't even been buried yet. And it's like, that's why we wanted to have a conversation, that we have to find a way to work together. Any kind of extreme rhetoric, left or right, is really dangerous. I've got to say, why even feel that you need to make the comment? Let's say you really disliked Charlie Kirk. The world does not need to see or hear or read what your opinions on it is. At the end of the day, you're a nobody, as a rule, these people. Yeah, sir, we have professors. We have a police chief. That must not have printed out. Not a police chief, but that's too bad. I must have lost it. It was a fire chief who got fired for saying despicable things as well. I can't believe that wasn't in my paperwork. But the list goes on and on of these examples. But at the end of the day, okay, you lost. There it is. You lost your job. People saw your true colors, who you really were, for what? A couple likes? I've seen it myself anecdotally from past friends, or whatever you want to call them, or colleagues, or whatever you want to call them. So in need of that attention, that like. So the first one got a lot of response of how nasty you are. Why would you say that? And then it got some likes from some like-minded people and all these type of things. And then they kept posting because they wanted more of those. It's like a drug, right? They needed more of that attention, more of that scandal. This is the one I meant. The chief of Cleveland Division of Fire was placed on paid administrative leave after sharing, paid, that's nice, after sharing an insensitive, incendiary social media post about Charlie Kirk. Actually saying, bring out the next sacrifice. Anthony, just so you know his name, Anthony P. Luke. But I think there's a really interesting point. We don't have time to get to it because I got to take a break. Peter Doran and Ivana Strader have a piece saying, America's enemies want us at each other's throat over Charlie Kirk. Don't take the bait. It's coming from one side is a problem. But for the love of God, country, and Charlie himself, we must not allow our grief to be manipulated by those who oppose everything America stands for. All right, your thoughts on that? I see a lot of comments, a lot of waves coming in. We will be right back. Stay with us after this quick commercial break. The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Thank you for all the comments. Oh my gosh, so many comments coming in. I don't know. I'm not going to be able to get to all of them. I think this will be just a segment in and of itself. Yeah, let's try to do that. Why don't we do this? Yeah, well, this could be the segment. Okay, we're going on the fly here. Jack writes, the best thing Republicans can do is nothing. The left is imploding from its own rhetoric. It's difficult to imagine that kind of hate and vitriol coming to light from them during such a tragedy. It's like they are justifying assassination as a solution instead of a problem. And this is rhetoric coming from so many, depending on what level we're talking about. You've got the professors that have lost their jobs, the teachers. That's been a really common thing, which comes as no surprise, I don't think. But everything from police officers, we had that Secret Service member, we had FEMA members. It is shocking. Comment from a different viewer regarding rogue teachers and professors. Might I suggest parents homeschool their kids? That's a very good point. I know that's been successful for many. Comment from a different viewer. I think the disturbing comments are useful to expose the evil among us. How else would we see them for the demons they are? I think you have to bring some of them up, and I'm glad that, because this doesn't always happen, where you have someone saying an outrageous thing and nothing really comes from it. That's happened in the past. Now there's actually some repercussions, realizing that especially when it comes to professors and teachers, that taxpayers are paying for that kind of rhetoric. Okay, Ken writes in, can you name a time that anyone the left hasn't lied to everyone in hopes of changing the narrative? This is in reference to Jimmy Kimmel, so many others trying to change the whole narrative. That brings to mind another old saying that the Democrats employ. If you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with, we'll say, baloney. Yes, you're exactly right, Ken. Thank you very much. Rick writes in, good morning, Frank. I caught your reply to my comment yesterday about why you think Israel has the right to lob United States bombs at anything that moves. I like that you're doing this in good faith, Rick. I like that you're making sure that you put my words into spot-on context. I appreciate that because I know that I'm not fair. Okay. That's a nice gesture. I totally agree that what Hamas did was worthy of a focused response. But don't you think after killing 40, 50, 60,000 Palestinians, I would say citation needed, starving the rest of them, okay, citation needed, killing thousands of Hamas, is that a negative? Leaving every building in Gaza, or leveling every building in Gaza, the score would be settled, wouldn't you think? Bunch of sick people over there. It makes me sick to think that people think that what's going on over there is okay. I don't think I ever said it was okay. I think I want it over just as much as you, but who makes it over? Hamas makes it over, not Israel. Hamas was the one that started it, and Hamas is the one not following, has not released the hostages, has not started the peace process. So I don't really know. I don't feel there's a scenario, Rick, where you would be happy no matter what how Israel handled this. I guess unless that they instantly surrendered after the first attack. I don't know. If you're gonna put words in my mouth, maybe I'll question if that's what you would have done. It was also great to see Patel get slapped up at the Senate hearing. You really? All that. The name calling is getting a little much. It is done as fired the FBI professionals that investigated Trump. Given Trump's history, that's a lot of people. I'll tell you, if you think Patel didn't do well, I would not have wanted to have been Adam Schiff. I would not wanted to have been Durbin or Cory Booker, some of the others. But I guess it's all who's watching. Comment from Rick. No, I'll continue with Rick. I think the king invited Trump over to tell him to never release the Epstein files. They were using some type of castle-looking thing in England to play Trump Epstein highlights on. I'm right. I got a headache from all this nonsense. Rick, thank you, Rick. Comment from a different viewer. Yes, there's a lot going on. We're running late. We've got the Gaffer District coming up in just a moment. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning. Anyone involved in draining a swamp can tell you it's a nasty business, and there's no telling what you'll find at the bottom. Having said that, it's a job worth doing. Thank you very much. Comment from a different viewer. In regards to a text I sent you yesterday, might I suggest that people contact teachers and professors to let them know that they do not support their political views. Perhaps if they're given stern criticism, these people will become introspective and change their tune, or they will become afraid and decide that they better back off. Well, I don't think you have to do that. I mean, I don't think every teacher and professor, I think the majority are far left. But I think when something like this happens, when someone in that field does spew that hate against Charlie Kirk, it is worth commenting on it. You're paying good money if you're a college student or a parent of a college student for those professors, and you're paying good money as a taxpayer for the teachers. So yes, I think it's worth commenting on. I know the media is trying to present this as cancel culture by the right. It's not that at all. Listen, there's a lot of money going to the teacher, the fire chief that we talked about, of our tax dollars. Is that the right attitude? Okay, final comment right now, but I see a lot more coming in. And a lot of waves coming in. We'll get to those after our guests, but we're running late. Final one of this segment. Good morning, Frank. This is really disgusting behavior and from so-called educators. It would really help prepare thoughts I have in my own mind on our education system if we could hear from some of our local teachers, and I don't mean those protesting on Market Street. I mean some who could speak out against this violence and hate speech they are spewing. Where are they? Do they exist? I'd like to think so, but why aren't they speaking up? I'm sure some do exist. I know they probably doesn't get as much coverage, but maybe you know someone anecdotally, or maybe one of you in the audience is a teacher, and you can weigh in on what you've seen on the school grounds. Okay. We have Gaffer District coming up quickly. Just Charlie Kirk's normal morality made him This culture's deadly foe, writes Rich Lowry. It's a good piece of the New York Post. Also, the Post editorial board, with twisted ruling tossing Luigi Mangione's terror charges, judge has endorsed political violence. And finally, Carolyn Markowitz writes, Democrats must denounce the lefties cheering Charlie Kirk's killer and Luigi Mangione, because both are being cheered. It's creating this culture, folks. She says, so Democrats need to own this. Assassination culture can only end if the left polices itself. Democrat leaders have to grow a spine and utterly reject the left's killers and those who love them, or this violent moment in America will keep spiraling. All right, stay with us. When we come back, we're going to learn all about the Harvest Fest, which is this weekend. Begins on Friday, I think right around 4 when vendors begin, and then Saturday, all day activities. We're going to learn all about it from the brand new, started just on October 11th, the brand new executive director of the Gaffer District, Catherine Price, excuse me. She started on August 11th. So this is her first big Gaffer District event. So we'll talk to her next. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox. We will be right back. The Frankly Speaking roof cam. With that beautiful view, it's looking like fall out there. Contact Boss Security for all your business and home security needs. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. We are broadcasting from the Hesselson Studio. The Hesselson Studio in the Gaffer District. Speaking of the Gaffer District, we have Catherine Price, excuse me. Great start, Frank. But no, thanks so much for being on the program. First of all, congratulations. This is our first time meeting.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited about being here.
Oh, yeah.
This is,
It's a tradition. I have to have the Gaffer District on for every event, right?
Yes,
to tell the
right?
world.
We have so many amazing events. It's so exciting to be here. Events are one of my, we were talking before we started,
Yeah.
events are one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
I just love the way it brings community together. I love live music. I love seeing people out with their families, plus, outdoor dining and all the other things that happen with Market Street closed that don't happen otherwise.
Yeah. But you haven't had a winter one yet. Those are a little bit different. Sparkle's a little different.
Well, Sparkle is the reason that I ended up here.
Really?
Yeah. So I came down for Sparkle back in 2020.
Okay.
And everything was shut down.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was 21.
So still when everything kind of opened up, or that
Yes.
weird shift? Yeah.
During the weird time.
Yeah.
And the streets were always closed and the trees were all lit.
Yeah.
And
beautiful.
Like I said, I love winter.
Oh, yeah.
I'm weird in that way. Winter holidays are fun for me.
Oh, of course.
So,
Well, tell us a little bit about, we're going to talk about Harvest Fest, which
Yes.
is coming up this weekend, of course, but tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, why you decided to make Corning your home.
So my background is hospitality. I'm actually a sommelier. I ended up in Geneva. So I spent most of my career in Virginia.
Okay.
In Southwest Virginia mostly, but in the DC area working as well. And home is Saratoga Springs.
Okay.
So I reached a point in my career where I was kind of stagnant there in Virginia, and so I moved back to New York.
Yeah. Wow.
Nothing against Virginia.
No.
I love Virginia, but New York is my home.
Of course.
And so I moved back up to New York, and after working hospitality there, mostly in operations, I decided I wanted to go back into wine full time. And I reached out to Christopher Bates, who is owns Quincy on Market here
of course,
with his wife Isabel. And I said, look, I wanna continue working as a som. I want to pursue this career, and will you hire me? And he said yes.
Wow.
And so so this is the best part, right?
Yeah.
So he hired me on March 13th of 2020.
Okay.
So 3 days before the world shut down.
Yeah, wow. Well, at least you had a job in line, in theory, right?
In theory. So I sold the house in the Saratoga County area, and I moved here even though it was COVID and even though things were not open. And I came down here to help with Quincy Market during Sparkle and help them get open, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So fast track a little bit, COVID changed things in hospitality a great deal, and I decided that I wanted to make a shift. And a friend of mine was on the board of director for the Geneva Business Improvement District.
Okay.
And you would be perfect at this. So I thought,
Give it a
let's
shot.
give it a try.
Yeah.
I loved it. I can't believe how much I love what I do.
Yeah.
I didn't think that I would like anything more than the wine industry, and I absolutely love this.
Well, it does have a little bit of a wine factor to it at most of the events, right? So you still always got that a little bit in the background of anything we do in our area, in the Finger Lakes region, right?
Yes.
Do you, when you look at it, because obviously you've got fresh eyes on everything, new blood, as they say, how do you look at the future at Gaffer District? Are you going to look at adding new events, changing events? I mean, not as a hard-hitting way. I'm not asking this as a hard-hitting question, but I mean, you want to make it your own a little bit, I would assume.
Yes. Well, luckily, unfortunately, we had some transition when between the time I accepted the position and I started, and I'm very happy for the people who are no longer with
Sounds
the
like they're
Gaffer
doing great.
District. They're
Yeah.
doing really well. So Marshall, who ran our events at the Gaffer District, is now running the Business Improvement District in Elmira,
yeah.
which is a wonderful
Perfect for him.
opportunity
Yeah.
for
Oh,
him.
absolutely.
And Emmy, who runs our marketing, has moved to Cornell to work there. And
So a lot of
moving into
changes.
Ithaca. Yes. So, when you say, are we going to change things? Yes, we have to.
Yeah.
Luckily, the two of them have stayed on in a consulting way.
Oh, good. Oh, that's
Emmy
great.
a little bit more than Mark. So there's no balls being dropped, which is,
Yeah,
my
because I was
biggest
worried about you in a way when I first heard the announcement, because you were starting right off with a major event pretty quickly.
Yes.
I mean, because Harvest is one of the bigger events that we have. So I
Yes.
thought, boy, that's a lot of change that quickly. Not that I was worried that you couldn't do it, but I mean, that's a stress level that I don't know.
Well, I thrive on it.
Yeah.
So it works for me.
Yeah, yeah. It's nice to have consultants too in the background helping.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So they are helping, and of course we have Nate, who's our operations director, who has really picked up a lot of the events components, and Ethan, who I don't know if you've seen him walking around with his camera. He's new in marketing and events also.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I feel so fortunate. I walked into a really, really great team.
So Harvest Fest is your first big one, right?
First big one. We did Cruising on Bridge Street.
Okay.
Within my first week.
Okay. So you're
And-
just taking it in at that point. There's
yes.
not,
Yes. But I think that there's so many things that the Gaffer District does right. Colleen was here for a really long
Oh, yeah.
time. I don't want to walk in and be heavy-handed and say, well, we're going to do this and I'm going to make it mine.
Of course.
There's nothing broken. Let's not fix it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when you're saying, what are my plans for the future? How do I put my stamp on it?
Yeah.
I don't know yet.
Sure.
A lot of that's going to depend on the board. The board started to go through a strategic plan about a year ago, and then that stopped when Colleen retired. So I'd like to pick some of that up, and we'll see. I think that events are an amazing part of what we do here, and I would like to add more.
Yeah.
I would love to see small events that bring people downtown and into the restaurants and into the retail shops.
Yeah.
I would love to see a little bit more marketing, maybe changing up the newsletter a little bit, sharing a little bit more information with the people who are visiting, as well as the people who are here, our business owners and our property owners in the district. So, but again, nothing's broken. I don't
Right.
have to fix anything.
No.
It's just a matter of
You
what
could
can we
coast
do.
the whole time if you wanted
I
to.
absolutely could. I could do nothing besides talk to you, and
Yeah,
we'd
perfect.
be good.
Yeah. I'll keep the secret.
Yeah.
But it has got to be exciting being brand new to this here, because you see a successful operation already, right?
Yes.
So now it's kind of just bonus level where you're at right here, how to either tweak or to add, or it's got to be kind of exciting.
It is. It's very
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
So when you look at Harvest Fest, how is the planning going? I know you can't compare it to last year's. I normally ask that question, but how's the Harvest Fest going?
It's great.
Yeah.
It really is.
A lot of buzz this year too.
Yeah. With big events like this, if you'd asked me 4 weeks ago when I walked through the door, I'd say, well, we're figuring it out.
Yeah.
But now we're the only thing that we really have to work on right now to update is we need a few more volunteers.
Okay. Oh, good to know.
Which is great. And we're in the process of updating our website to reflect all of the vendors.
Sure.
And the activities. So we have. So I'll go into it a little bit with
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
So we have just under 40 of our downtown merchants that are going to be participating and out front and setting up.
Great.
Almost all of our restaurants will be doing roadside dining, or curbside outdoor dining. There we go, outdoor dining.
They all work.
Yeah, so setting up patios and being outside. And then we have about 10 other food vendors that are going to be coming in on all the different blocks to make it a little bit easier on the downtown restaurants. You know, they'll all be full, but there'll be enough people here to we need
work
to
for
feed
everybody.
everybody.
Yes, exactly.
We have music in 4 locations on Friday night, and that's going to run from 4 to 8 o'clock. And the music will stop around 7:30. And then on Saturday, we have the full slate of music from 10 a.m. till 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
4 different locations will be at the Val Reap Fountain, at Marriage
Music?
Marriage
Yeah.
Music.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Marriage Music.
You've got a
We
lot
really
of
love
names to
you.
learn, though. You've got a lot of names to learn. No one's going to hold that against you. But yes, Marriage Music is going to have music all day.
Yes, and of course Centerway Square. So 4 bands in each location, maybe 5 bands in each location all day long.
Wow.
We'll be rotating through. Of course, we have the Stilt Walker back this year. She was so popular last year, so we wanted to have her back. Hay rides. Carriage rides on the hay. And this year we're doing a chainsaw carving it's not a contest because they're just showing us how to chainsaw carve.
Okay.
Lesson.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
I don't know what you would call it.
I don't know what
Demonstration.
to call it.
Demonstration.
That's the word.
There
Demonstration. So I'm actually very excited about this. I've never seen a chainsaw carving demonstration before.
Yeah.
So that's going to be at 10 o'clock. Down in Block 4.
Okay.
And then after them, we have. See, I didn't bring my notes.
I know. Well, that's the problem when there's so many things going on.
Yes.
You put a lot of pressure on yourself by not bringing your notes.
I know. Well, you have to stop by the printer on your way out the door. It just doesn't work.
I should have the website up. I guess.
Right. So, but not all of this is on the website yet. So again, gafferdistrict.com. Definitely go there and check it out. It has all of our vendors listed. It has all of our downtown merchants listed and their participation.
Oh, great.
It will show you who's participating in the Scarecrow contest.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And so it's pet adoption services. Something in PERS. Help me.
Paws and Purse.
That's Paws and Purse. There we go. I'm making it hard on myself. They'll be there after the chainsaw demonstration. So come on down and find a new family member.
Yeah, and this really is a welcome to fall. Now it's kind of weird this year because you just kind of getting settled, but the orange leaves, of course, are everywhere all the time. You know it's fall when you find one at your house.
Yes.
Because it's stuck to something on your clothes. That's when you know. But they're everywhere. But it does really already feel like fall. And sometimes Harvest Fest doesn't. You get one of those kind of late fall. We're ready.
Well, and I think that it's perfect, right? We couldn't order better weather.
No.
Because it's warm during the day and cool at night, so everything's changing. All the and harvest festivals are so great because they give a nod to the fact that we're in the middle of our agriculture here.
Absolutely.
So we'll have the apples and the pumpkins and the mums and all those wonderful things that you need the cool evenings to have everything happen.
Sure.
To have harvest, but you don't have to wear a coat in the middle of the day.
Right, which is ideal, right? And one thing I'd be remiss if I didn't promote. I'm going to self-promote here for a moment, but the group is finally getting together, and the historic marker is going to be unveiled. We're really looking forward to that. I know there's a lot of Dwayne Eddy's family and friends coming from all around the country to see this.
Yes.
So I think that's a one and done. That's not going to be every year, of course, but I think it's a neat addition to this year's Harvest Fest, where the marker that marker's been in a garbage bag all farmers market all summer, and it's been tough not to say, hey, let's for a couple of weeks take it off. But it is going to be the great unveiling, and Dee Eddy is going to be there, Dwayne's wife, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. And I'm so glad that our small little group could partner up with you guys, and you guys have been so helpful, but to make sure that it gets the publicity, because I think there's a lot of people that have been so supportive of him getting recognized in Corning that they would almost be mad at us if they didn't know about it.
Right.
So that's great that you guys were able to help.
Well, and I think that he was, so many people don't realize what a music great he was.
Oh yeah.
And I know that you've done interviews with him, and he's a special place in your heart. But I want to make sure that everybody that's listening knows that that's going to be at 2:00.
Yes.
By the clock tower. It's actually behind the clock tower where the market is, where the marker is. near where the farmers market is.
Yeah.
It will be. Well, hopefully we won't have the garbage bags on it for the
No,
unveiling.
don't worry.
Have
We're
something
taking care
really
of that.
pretty to unveil.
I'm gonna get a cloth and do all that. We're not gonna try to have scissors and cut that garbage bag off. But
we'll have seating there.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I mean, this is somebody who's been in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame since 1994.
yeah,
I mean,
one of the earliest classes.
Yeah.
And I know I always say this, but what I always appreciated so much, he always promoted Corning.
Yes.
Even when Corning didn't necessarily know or promote him, if all his bios, all his promos always said born in Corning. I always thought for someone who's been away from Corning for so long, that's pretty impressive that he, obviously before he passed, he was promoting Corning and always loved talking about Corning. He visited not that long ago before his passing, got to see how great we're doing and how beautiful it looks.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful.
Well, and it is beautiful. We have a really beautiful town here. It's just the perfect size where everybody knows each other, but it's big enough that we can still have the shops that we would like to have, and we can
Arts and
support the retail.
entertainment.
Oh my gosh, and our arts and culture
Oh, yeah.
is amazing. We have world-class museums here.
Yep. So the Dwayne Eddy unveiling, that is at 2 o'clock, but that's one of the reasons why we waited, because it's been there for a while. We waited because we knew Harvest Fest would be the perfect event for that. It's just going to be, the visuals are going to be amazing. So putting that one aside, when you look at the Harvest Fest that's coming up this weekend, what are you personally looking forward to the most about it?
So fall's one of my favorites.
Sure.
And we talked about that. I love the cold snap in the air.
Yeah.
I love pulling out my sweaters.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
I am really excited to see the community engagement that we have. That's one of the reasons that I wanted to come here.
Oh,
and
yeah.
one of the reasons that, when I came down and I interviewed for the position, one of the main reasons that I took it, or accepted the position, when I spoke with the board of directors and got to walk around and talk to the downtown people, it was incredible.
Oh, yeah.
We have such an amazing community, and I am really most excited about seeing how we all come together as a community.
Yeah, we do.
Family and friends and kids and all the things.
There is something very, because I've worked on Market Street pretty much my whole career, and I've always been sometimes on this side getting to watch, almost more people watch, where when you're working, and it is amazing to see the community come together. I mean, it may be someone you see every day on Market Street, but it's something different when you're at an event like this. You talk longer, you have great conversations.
You do, and I think it makes people put away their devices.
Oh yeah, of course.
And slow down and engage with each other, and that's what makes a community.
I couldn't agree more. So before we go, how do people volunteer? You said you still need volunteers, and I know that's a need anytime you have a big event like this. How can they help?
So on our socials as well as on the website, there are links to volunteer.
Okay.
Social might be easier on Facebook or Instagram.
Okay.
There are links, and it shows you what time slots are still available and what our needs are.
Okay.
So
Well, you make it easy then.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you come and volunteer, you get a T-shirt and a swag bag and all the good things
Yeah.
that come with volunteering, and you get to be a part of this amazing event.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for you. They're your first big Harvest Festival.
I'm very
and
excited.
I know Monday's going to be nice, though, when it's all over. You can take that breather, right?
Yes.
But for now, it's a roller coaster ride.
That's the best part. So you finish and you're like, wow, that was amazing. And then you sleep all day the
Yeah,
next day.
right.
And then the next day you get up, you go, okay. So
What's next? Yeah.
Yes, what's next, and how can we do this even better next year?
Yeah. And
So,
you've got Sparkle after that, and that'll be here in the
Yes.
blink of an eye.
Yes. And we have Wine Glass Marathon.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so Wine Glass and then Sparkle and
Yeah.
the Parade of Lights,
Oh, my goodness.
Days of Incandescence.
It's going quick.
So many good things.
I can't believe it. The Harvest Fest this weekend right in the Gaffer District. Well, again, congratulations on
Thank
the new
you.
role, and thanks for being on the show, and we'll have to do this again soon for whatever the next big event is, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this. The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Thank you again to Catherine Price, the new executive director of the Gaffer District. Tell us all about those fun events happening this weekend at Harvest Fest, beginning on Friday. We're going to take this segment because we're running just a little bit late before we go to a break. We're going to take this segment to read just viewer comments because we've got a ton of them. You guys have been very talkative this morning. I love it. I thought this was a very powerful statement from a viewer. To all the people crying online about losing their jobs for something they said, this is in reference, of course, to Charlie Kirk's assassination. For all those people crying online about losing their job for something they said, imagine losing your life for it. Very powerful statement there. Thank you very much. Steve writes in, there's a couple of typos here, but he said, and I know that's just how texting works. I totally get it. But good morning, Frank. Well, good morning, Steve. I guess for my comedic relief, I just have to listen to the messages Rick sends in. There is nothing funny about what is happening over in Israel. But when the narrative is, why is Israel not stopping it? Why are people starving? Why isn't Hamas allowed, or why isn't Israel allowed to exist? Maybe if Hamas didn't exist, Palestinians would have the food that is dropped off that Hamas steals. I hope I'm not paraphrasing too much. I'm trying to correct a couple things here. What hostages are left, which there should have never been taken in the first place. Hamas hasn't allowed elections since 2017. When people are saying free Palestine, they're not saying it correctly. Basically, they're saying the opposite of what it means. The big picture should be free Palestine from Hamas, but they are protesting essentially the opposite. I hope I did okay there, Steve. I appreciate it. Comment from a different viewer. Jack in Tennessee says, I'm here, boots on the ground. Just heard about the assistant professor. We talked about that a little earlier on, getting potentially fired. Just letting you know that that's not the general feelings here. Everyone that I've talked to about it is sad about Charlie Kirk's assassination. It figures that the assistant professor has been said to be originally from a California college. The University of Tennessee is strongly against political bashing on either side. As a former employee, we had to watch what we said at all times as we were out and about on campus. Thank you, Jack. I appreciate that. Comment from a different viewer. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning. You're a media genius. Really, thank you. Even Rick is watching you instead of MSNBC. Thank you very much. It's very touching to think that he'll soon realize that Trump isn't any better than Biden or Obama at fixing all of the world's problems. Thank you. Comment from, Ken. Ken writes in, Frank, the war in Israel is horrible, but let's not forget, Hamas killed, raped, and kidnapped children in an unprovoked attack. Hamas vowed to never stop the attacks until they eliminate Israel, and the attacks have been going on for years. Hamas hides behind the Palestinian people in schools, churches, and hospitals. You're exactly right. Israel tries hard to warn the Palestinians when they are going to attack to save lives, even though it hampers their effectiveness in eliminating Hamas fighters. Hamas won't let the hostages free. The Gaza Health Ministry, run by Hamas, feeds the world with information. Yeah, they're the propaganda wing, and the mainstream media uses them to push this narrative. Does anyone think they are telling the truth? Of course not. How can any country live with a neighbor like that? You're exactly right. If the shoe was on our foot, I think many people would have a very different opinion of the response that should be taken. You're exactly right, Ken. Israel ties their hands really to protect as many people as they can. Now, there's anything in war, there are going to be mistakes and things made. But at the end of the day, they are doing everything. It does hinder their ability in so many instances. And again, we've got to remember Hamas started this from the beginning. This was unprovoked. This was an unprovoked attack, simple as that. It was unnecessary, and now Israel is responding for the protection of their small little slice of land that is surrounded by people that want to see them destroyed. So thank you, Ken. I see some other comments coming in, but we got to take a break. Oh, I know. Someone got upset. I said I would read Karen's quote of the week. I read it in the 6 o'clock hour, but if you missed it, Karen did send in a quote of the week. It's a short one. The quote can be applied to a serious issue of loss, like the many sad stories in the news as of late, or just to the end of summer, which so many people are unhappy about. She sends in a quote from Dr. Seuss. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Thank you, Karen. Thank you for that. We're going to take a break. Get your last second comments in. I know I'm not even going to get to the New York State issues, I don't think. We're going to go through them quick. So stay with us. We'll be right back after this.